My name's Rupert Firmstone. I'm Global Head of PIM for Columbus. I own our overall technology roadmap. I'm responsible for how we deliver projects to our customers in terms of getting the most success. Columbus Global is a systems integrator. We're about 2,000 people. We're headquartered in Denmark, offices in Sweden, UK and US. We integrate commerce platforms, we integrate product information management platforms. We also have a strategy team that can help companies manage complex change. I think Columbus is the right partner because we're able to support the whole end-to-end technology stack. We have capabilities around e-commerce, product information management, ERP, the whole complex technology architecture that holds it all together. And we also have a strategy and change team that can support customers through that change process. It's really important not to look at PIM in isolation. If you do look at PIM in isolation and not as an end-to-end technology stack, it increases project risk. So I think in our experience, the best projects that we've worked on are where we're working across ERP, PIM and commerce. Again, the window into that business that customers are experiencing, that end-to-end customer journey, we're able to impact the whole lot holistically. And typically we're working at C-level, often CEO level, in quite large organisations to help them define that whole end-to-end strategy. And I think Columbus is very unique in that respect. You've got lots of integrators that can just do the small piece of PIM or commerce, or maybe just PIM and commerce, but I'm finding it's incredibly powerful to achieve success for customers, to be able to support the customer in that whole end-to-end journey. The Akeneo platform is very mature as it is. Obviously it's been developed over quite a long period of time with some great people. I also see the speed of development as very fast. We're getting new features that we need, and that's also giving a good element of future-proofing. I also find Akeneo good to work with. I find that it's a collaborative relationship that we have where we're supporting both sides. We're very customer focused and it's about the customer first, and even in some cases we're putting revenue, money, sales as a secondary point. We just want to see great outcomes with our customers, and I feel that Akeneo are very aligned to those core values. I'm seeing customers' needs related to PIM evolving really very rapidly, and I think vendors are having to try to keep up with that in terms of their technology stack. A lot of this I see is driven around customer experience and the customer journey, reducing friction, creating better engagement. The future of product information is a super interesting topic because I see the whole landscape changing very rapidly. The needs of organisations, even smaller organisations, is really exploding. More complex analytics and reporting. Sometimes that means taking data out of the PIM and doing some clever stuff and putting it back in. I'm seeing a need for much more complex integrations that support different architecture. I'm seeing a need for more of a semantic structure where there are links between products, images, text, rather than a flat structure. A deeper breadth of functionality, more complex architecture is needed, and it needs to be deployed quickly and leanly. So all of those factors, I could say, conflict with each other. But with the Akeneo platform, we're getting a lot of that capability right now, ready to go. And as a system integrator, we're able to add bits on very easily because of the flexibility of Akeneo's architecture and the maturity of the API. Some of the trends that we saw in B2C are now apparent in B2B. A lot of them are really playing catch up, and I see a lack of maturity within B2B organisations that needs to change really very quickly. And that change needs to come right from the top down. In many cases, the PIM needs to be the core of the business. In some cases, it's more critical than the ERP system because it's the PIM that's actually driving the front end, the window into the business that's creating that experience. Generation Z is really interesting. I spend quite a lot of time trying to understand that generation so that I can help customers create that window into the business to support that journey. A really good way of understanding that generation is to jump onto TikTok to try to understand the mindset of that generation. I think throughout the buying journey, sustainability, social responsibility is really important, and those buyers are even looking at political views of the organisation that they're buying from. And I see this as evolutionary, and there are really not many organisations that have even got the foundations to deliver this experience. TikTok, sales on TikTok, product information being driven to TikTok is actually going to be a real differentiator in terms of entering new markets. And coming back to the original topic, product information and how to navigate that product information in a customer journey, I can't emphasize enough, this is actually make or break for a lot of businesses. It's just so important and it's underestimated. Most of the mistakes that I see with both B2C and B2B are around the buyer's journey, and this comes back to the window into the business, what buyers are actually experiencing in that buyer journey. If I go onto a website and it's not driven with product data, so I can't use filters, I can't do my different search types to, in some cases, find complex products, I will simply go elsewhere. So that's probably the biggest mistake I see. The other one is around engaging content, because I think there's a missed opportunity with many companies to provide content that will just keep me coming back to that website to consume that content even when I'm not buying, but then that's going to be the first organisation that I probably end up buying from. So the end-to-end customer experience throughout that buying journey, these little things are make or break in terms of the buying experience, and therefore could well be make or break in terms of the future of their business. If you show products in a context that's more related to the buyer, that is driving revenue. So I see that as the future. Product content is really needed to drive that, and that is adding a huge layer of complexity around creating and managing content to create that experience. But again, what we're talking about here is money, we're talking about revenue, and I think this is emphasising the importance in an organisation about product information management and a well-architected PIM strategy. I met with the CEO of a large organisation, a very large organisation, and we talked about product information and the need for product information within that business. And it's so critical to that company's success in providing content to their customers to support the buyer's journey. And it was clear that if this strategy wasn't put in place quickly, that was seen as a risk to the business. If this CEO's organisation can't deliver that content, that product information, then their customers are actually buying elsewhere. So I'm seeing PIM, product information management, in some cases more critical than even an ERP. And now some companies who are looking at ERP, which was seen as running the whole business, are now putting PIM at the forefront because it's directly affecting revenue and it's affecting the core business strategy, and it's a risk to the business if they can't do that. Columbus, and also me personally, are very focused on delivering great outcomes for our customers. In many cases, because of our culture, we're putting the customer first, even over revenue. We're passionate about doing a great job. For me, this starts from the window into the business. This isn't about looking at processes, architecture, APIs. This is about starting from what does that window look like into the business? What are the customers experiencing? Do they have an engaging experience with access to product content? Is it a frictionless journey? That's where I start looking at in terms of a successful project. And I think this is perhaps quite a unique way of looking at things. So it's about understanding what are you actually looking to achieve for the business, not talking about what data model do you need or what APIs do you need. It's what you actually want to achieve for a business. That's the first part that I think is really critical in terms of approach, and we do that at a very early stage. The second part is around requirement analysis. I always say that every 1 hour that you spend up front in a project is going to save you 10 hours within the project and massively reducing risk. So properly documented requirements around what you're looking to achieve strategically as a business, and also what that architecture, what the features and functions look like in order to deliver that. I think it's very critical to have buy-in right from the top. If you haven't got buy-in from the top within an organisation, the adoption rate is potentially going to be low. We're working strategically within organisations. We're often working with a CEO who is making sure that everyone else is on board with the general strategy. I think it's important for people lower down to be involved with that decision journey so that everyone is putting in their views. Everyone has the chance to discuss their needs, and that also is helping with user adoption.